Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about communication process and the models that are involved in that process. So to start with, there are several elements that go into the process of communication. The first would be a sender. This would be the person who encodes the message or sends the message to the other person. Then you have the receiver. This is a person who decodes that message. So you have a sender, you have a receiver. Then you have the message itself. This is what's being told or shared between the sender and the receiver. Now this can be a verbal message. It can also be nonverbal. If I cross my arms right now and said nothing, I'm probably sending a message of some sort. So it can be words, it can be nonverbal. Then you have the channel. This is how the message is getting from one person to the other person. What channel is it being delivered through? So it could be a channel like TV. It could be face-to-face. It could be Twitter. It could be texting. It could be the telephone. Okay? Those are all the different channels that the communication is sent through. The next element would be noise. There's noise that gets in the way, that interferes with the communication. Now there's several types of noise. You can have physical noise. So if you're talking to someone and an ambulance drives by and a loud siren gets in the way, okay? That type of noise. You can also have something called psychological noise. So maybe you've got something on your mind that's bugging you, something you're worried about. Maybe there's a test coming up that you haven't studied for and you're kind of freaking out a little bit about it. Okay, those thoughts and worries are going through your mind, and that's going to get in the way of you really listening or hearing the communication. There can also be things just in the environment. So wind, rain, weather things that can interfere. Smells can also interfere. If there's a bad odor or something that's making you nauseous, that's going to get in the way of you being a good listener. Even things like the room temperature. If the room's really hot, if it's really cold, that can make us uncomfortable and is going to change how we can really listen. Finally, there is the context. So this is the environment in which the communication is happening. What is surrounding the communication? So there are three types of models for the communication process, and they've really developed over time. It's not that one of them is wrong, but you're going to see that the third one is actually the most effective one. So let's look at my little drawing here, and let me go through the three types. So at the top you have linear. Linear is just your sender and your receiver and the message going one way. This is very simple one-way communication. It's not complicated. It still exists and it's still useful. So if you're, let's say, watching a television show, that's very much linear. You're just listening to the TV. The next one is interaction. Interaction is going to have your sender sending a message, but then you're also going to have the receiver sending a message back. You can have noise. You can have the environment in there. There can be those different factors, but it's a little chunky, I would say. It's just broken up because I speak and then you speak and then I speak, and it's interaction, okay? The final one is what we call transactional. Now transactional is going to have both your sender, your receiver. You're going to have a message that goes from one and a message that comes back from the other, but it's happening simultaneously. Simultaneous is what's really the key for a transactional, okay? You're going to still have noise that gets in the way. You still have an environment of some type, right? What is the setting? You're going to have the message itself in there, but it's going to be happening at the same time with what we call feedback. So if we were standing face to face and I was describing the transactional model and you gave me kind of the deer in the headlight look, the confused face, that would tell me you're not understanding this. And I could midstream change how I'm describing it or add an extra example or ask for clarification. Because as I am speaking to you, you are also communicating to me. And that is transactional, where lots of things are happening all at the same time, and there's excellent feedback that's going back and forth. So again, transactional, simultaneous, sending back and forth. Now, for extra credit, I want you to draw your own little schematic of a transactional model. So here's mine. We have these two kids. There's a house. We've got some rain coming down, and the one person says, "Can you come play?" And the other one says, "I have to do my chores." This one has a sad look on his face, so we can see the nonverbal. He's disappointed that he can't come play. There's a car going down the street, so that's causing some noise. Again, it's starting to rain, so maybe the rain is noisy, maybe the kids are afraid of lightning, lots of things there. Maybe they're just uncomfortable. Maybe the play date isn't really going to work because now it's storming out. Okay, so this is a schematic that is showing all of our different elements of our sender, our receiver, the actual message, the interference, the environment that it's in. So for extra credit, if you will draw your own schematic of whatever, and clearly artistic ability is not important in this, and then post it on our discussion board. And I'll put this out there as well for you to respond to. But I'd like to see what you would draw as a communication model that is a transactional model. All right, thanks everyone.